how it come? First of all, I'm a Viking. I'm tall because I'm from Sweden, and my parents in Sweden we produce tall guys, so that's why. Second thing, I lived in Japan. I trained with Igarashl life there. I've been training for many teachers. I started Aikido in 1977 February, and more or less started very intensive. I've been doing Aikido for many teachers, but my head teacher is Kobayashi sensei, Yasuo. And yeah, that's about. More or less immediately fell in love with Aikido, so I decided to do everything about that. And why I'm in St. Petersburg, to be quite honest, I was invited. That's your problem, not mine. If you are stupid enough, no, sorry. But I'm a professional teacher. I travel around, and yeah. I am, from the very start, I did a lot of practice, and I practiced for Japanese teachers. Of course, Swedish teachers also. But very, very soon, a couple of months after I started, I came in contact with Ichimura sensei, who was at that time the Swedish chief of Aikido, head instructor. And later Tomita sensei also, but Ichimura sensei was my head instructor in Sweden. And I started to travel in France, in Europe, to meet Tamura sensei, Chiba sensei, Sugano sensei, later on Yamada sensei, Tada sensei, whatever. And 1980 I decided to go to Japan to stay 1 year as a Chireshi, nearly 1 year as a Chireshi in Kobayashi dojo. And from that time, at that time not so many foreigners went to Japan. So I'm not the first generation of Westerners going to Japan for Aikido. I mean, maybe not even the second. But I'm a little bit before all of these people who now goes. If you went to Tokyo, you walk in the street, you didn't see so many foreigners. Now you see a lot of them. Also, Hombo at that time when I came was French people, very many people from France. The generation before that was Englishmen and Americans. Because in America and England, it started back in the 60s and even in the 50s in the US. In Sweden, it started also in the 60s, but it took a while before people really started to go there. And I have a good relationship with my teachers, Kobayashi sensei, Igarashl sensei, and also Hombo dojo, family of Eshimba. And other teachers there, Anderson sensei, Yamaguchi sensei at that time when he was still alive. So why people invite me, you must ask them, I don't answer that question. But I've been around, I've seen a lot, and somehow it works, I don't know. But I'm not alone. We are many, nowadays we have many people from Europe and US, and maybe also other continents like South America, who can come and share training camp with Japanese teachers. Because the standard of Aikido now in Europe, South America, US of course, Europe, I don't know Africa so much, but yeah, it's high, no problem. I met Shiba Kishimaru dojo 1980 when I came to Japan. First month, maybe 2 months, he was not teaching. His son, today's dojo, was teaching instead of him, because he had old dojo Kishimara had an operation in stomach. And he came back after about 2 months when we came there, somewhere around March, maybe April, something, and started to teach mornings. And that's how I met him. And once a week, we tried to go there in the morning time to study for him. Then I met him when I'm coming back to Japan later for morning classes, and I also met him in Europe. Well, that was Kishimaru Shiba. Very special, very clean, very, I don't say strict because that means hard for some people, but very easy to identify and very sympathetic Aikido. I really like this Aikido. He was a very nice person in Aikido. I can't say I knew him as a person. He was much older than me. I was a young punk, sorry the expression. And at that time, going from first gear to showdown. But yeah, I have many very nice memories. His son, today's dojo, and today's Vaka sensei, I have a not completely different relationship with. I know them very well, and we do things together sometimes. That time, today's dojo was teaching instead of his father when he was ill for an operation, and he also had one morning, maybe 2 morning classes, always anyway. But he also, we could practice together. He was at the same tatami as a student for his father. So the relationship was more, he was at that time, Vaka sensei, you were like, ay. But he was relaxed, very easy to deal with. And I arranged many camps with him in Nordic area, in Iceland and other places. And yeah, liked him. Today's Vaka sensei, I met, I don't know when I met him in Japan, I don't remember that. But first time he was outside of Japan to practice was in Norway, 1996, I think it was, 97 or. And that his father brought him there. And we all stayed together with the Norwegian Federation and also Moliko's group, two different federations, and they were a joint thing they did. And 10 years later, today's Vaka sensei, first time he was teaching, as I understand, outside of Japan, was also in Norway, on 10 years later for an anniversary. And at that time also, I took him and his father to Iceland, and we have taken him to Sweden. The federation invited him, I think. So, yeah, I have a good relationship with him. Sensei, he already been living in France for 13 years or something like that. And he was very French in his style. And that's normal, you know. Some Japanese people tell me, Igarashl sensei always tell me, Urban, you're more Japanese than we are, sometimes. Because when you are moving into a country and stay there for a while, you adapt the customs, because that's the way you get accepted. By understanding the customs, the way, the culture they live, and you a little bit overdo it. You are not relaxed. And so Tamara was very French style in France, but he was a very kind person. All of these guys were very kind persons. He was very easy to deal with. He helped Swedish Aikido a lot. I'm not going to mention more than, there was a situation back in the 80s we needed help from outside. The only ones who really helped us was Tamara sensei and Sugana sensei. All the other teachers were afraid of the conflict. And I always are grateful for him and his memory for doing what he did for Swedish Aikido. I know Tamara sensei since 1978. And when he passed away, 2009, I was at his funeral, or memorial. The funeral was very private, only family. But then they had a big memorial, and about 1,000 people came from different countries, different people, and I was invited to come. And I think I spent, when that time happened, I counted days. And I found out somewhere around 650, 700 days of training I've been doing with it. Every summer when I was young, we went down to France. We could stay for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks and practice. And also, I invited him with the federation to Sweden many times, and I was also in charge, at that time I was in charge of these kind of camps. And I met him also in other countries, and yeah, I loved Tamara because he was short, very powerful, but not like me, tall and big. So his technique, for me, it was like impossible. So I said, I must learn. I must learn this kind of way of doing. Sugano sensei and Chiba sensei and Yamada sensei, they are more like big. So I could identify with these teachers very easy. I could see what they did, I could translate it. But Tamura sensei was like, oops, I understand nothing. I must understand. So still I have many, many good friends from the French Federation. Robert Levauche, Tiki Shuan, Jacques Bardet, whatever they are. And even if I don't go there anymore, because Tamura sensei is away, and still we have, you know, sending some email conversations from time to time and things like this. I really, really like Tamura sensei. Maybe I've done about 100 classes with him, mostly from, a little bit more in fact. And sometimes also, especially in Edinburgh, I've been a couple of times when he's been there and he asked me, please, together with Donovan White, who's one of his top students, please, you teach also. So we all of us was moving around, Robert Levauche. So I have a very nice relationship with also him. And they are all different, and that's why I like it. I try to learn different things from all of them. And they are the last ones who can deliver what the sensei talked about and did. And because when they pass away, then nobody was personal with sensei, but these guys were really personal. Kobayashi, Fukusaka in Thailand, Yamada. Already in America, Kanai passed away, Akira Tohei passed away, all these names who were sensei close, they are only Yamada is left, more or less. There are some others, but the real close ones are. Yamada sensei is a beautiful person. He is a New Yorker. And I've never been to New York, but everybody says when I say New Yorker, they say, yeah, I understand. Very American style, very... Kobayashi say once, I don't know if it's true, he maybe was making a joke, but he said, yeah, he had a training camp with Yamada in New York, and he never slept nighttime, only daytime. So something like that. But I really like Yamada, and his style is very clean. Back in the 50s, the old style. No fancy things, but he's really hardworking. He's doing very, very nice work. I like him very much. Sugano sensei, more spiritual person. Tamura was also spiritual, but also Sugano sensei was also a Zen leader. They sometimes say Zen priest. I never understand what the difference is because I'm not into it. So he had his way of teaching Aikido was very spiritual. Where Tamura was more like, oh wow, technical, wow, strong mentality, very strong mentality. Sugano sensei was more like, ooh, doing things very, very nice. And Ichimura sensei was the same. So when I met Sugano sensei, I could easily, I understand this way of teaching. I liked it. And the combination of these two guys, Tamura very slim, short, Sugano tall, and the combination of what they were teaching was beautiful. These camps I loved because you really, and one day you had it all from them together. He's showing this and then he's showing that. And wonderful. That year when I was there as Uchideshi first time, we did about 1 or 2 classes every week for Nishin sensei. And Takemori sensei at that time, he was one of the students, one of the best young students, absolutely one of the best, hardworking. I was sitting together with him when he got his Sandan diploma from Nishin sensei. And I like him very, very much. Sometimes when he's in Stockholm, even if I don't go to his classes because of we sometimes try to take lunch together or whatever. I think nowadays everybody changed from Nishin sensei group. Shishiya changed. Everybody's doing a little bit their own style. But he used to be very, very, very close to Nishu. Maybe still is, I don't know. And I liked his style very, very much. At that time when we were there, the top students of Nish Sensei was two 7th dan guys. Or at that time maybe they were 6th dan. It was Mazda, not the Hombudoyo Mazda, another Mazda, and Shibata. His name was Shibata. They're both dead now, I think. They were friends of Ichimura Sensei when Ichimura Sensei started Aikido. They were really good, really, really good. I like Nish Sensei very much, and I learned about a lot of technique and attitudes from him. But his Aikido I can't do. He was very technical, and I've never been technical. I'm not so interested in technical. If you do this or if you do that, I'm more into, like Kobayashi, moving. Suits my mind. So other styles suits other people's mind. So it's not a question of right or wrong or something. But I really learned a lot from Nish Sensei. And Taki more and more he was a friend, training partner, friend at that time.
Next question about, you've been...
Very few people can make it work when they do like that. But Ichimura Sensei and also Kobayashi Sensei when we were in Japan first time, both of them trying to teach us the same. You have a head teacher, head line, but that teacher can never explain everything. Not that he can't explain, but maybe you just don't listen his way of talking. So from time to time you need somebody else to say the same thing in another way to make you understand. So you have a headline and then you add things from other lines into this. And this is how you work, so you create your own Aikido. Not my own Aikido, but something that suits me when I teach. If I go to a training camp and practice for somebody else, then I try to copy that teacher. I'm not interested in showing myself then. But when I'm here to teach, I do my style. And my style is 75% Kobayashi dojo. And then we have 25% more. Nishu, Tamura, Ichimura, Swedish teachers, whatever. Or, you know, because I think it's stupid not to take in. How can you say no to knowledge? But you must keep yourself centered. So when you take it in, you don't get lost. Because sometimes too much information gets you confused. But if you know, I'm weak on this point, and I don't come forward with my teacher on this, maybe another teacher says, I show something, and now I understand, and then you can continue working. That's my way of thinking. You asked me my Aikido.
Yes.
And then it's 75%.
Yes.
If you talk about Yasaka Dojo, we have people who are influenced from Iwama, from Ando Sensei, so of course. But when it comes to the basic trainings, everybody agrees Kobayashi Dojo line. Next level, then we are more free to move. People are. So you can find one or two instructors doing more like, we have one instructor who is very influenced from the Iwama style, from Site Sensei. His weapons are very close. We have one old-timer from France, a Frenchman, teaching. And when he moves the old Mochizuki Sensei way they did back in the 70s. We have Börje 7th dan, not shihan, but 7th dan, doing Ando Sensei style. You know, so we have everything, but that's dojo. Because we are like a big hombo in a smaller part in Stockholm. We try to do it like that, to offer different ways in many places. But my personal way of working is something well. Then I work 75% Kobayashi dojo. That's the difference. Time change. And we are more and more standing on our own legs in Aikido. In Yasaka, we have 3 people who are 7th dan. 2 of us are aikikai shihans. Things like this. We have 5th dan, 6th dan, 4th dan. We have about 50 black belts or something like that every year. It's so big, So it must be a little bit like a company. Not a company 100%, but we have to take decisions to protect our money, to protect our... If we lose our dojo and have to move out to a suburb where we put up tatami every day and then put it back, we're going to lose some couple of hundred members because people don't like that. We have the tatamis there, we have a big dojo, we have the sauna, we have washing machines, a kitchen, you know, you've been there. So we have to make decisions that makes us secure that we can stay and we can work in the dojo. And I am the only one who is professional. The other ones work for free. They have some benefits, of course. They don't pay for camps and things like this. But still, I'm not the only one who's professional, which means we have a dojo we pay a lot of money for. So we need to, if you have a company, you know, if you have a place, and know, like this studio, and if this studio 23 hours a day is not used, it's a waste of money. If you can make more and more and more and more things, then it's like it's good money for the studio. You know, and we have the same problem in Osaka. We must find ways to make people come, not only for traditional evening classes, children classes, lunch practice, morning practice. Also, we must find other groups. So now we work with retired people, people who had stroke, rehabilitation training, and we try to start to think even more groups who can come in daytime. So we make maybe instead of 5 hours a day, maybe we can make it 10-hour days it is used, because that's economy. It's like capitalismus, it's very easy. So this is, we must work with in Osaka. Same time we must keep it together. It's good that we have many people know many styles, but we still must have it together so people don't freak out. And it must be funny. I don't know here in St. Petersburg, in Sweden, and Stockholm. So many things for young people to do. So many activities. When I started, everybody, Aikido, wow, we must go there. Now, Aikido, one more thing, about 25 more things this week I could do. And the internet, and blah, 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 blah. So we must find strong ways to make us attractive for many more people and to really fight in this competition with other activities. This is what we have to do the next coming years, I think. And that I don't think only for Osaka. That goes for Aikido in the whole world. As far as I understand it, Aikido more or less in all countries where it's established are going down. And new forms are going up. New form of Bushido, Budo, martial art, or even other activities going up. So we must find a ways to put back Aikido into something that grows. That's a challenge for all of us, for you, for me. You don't go to a shop. Some people go to a shop if they're looking for something special. But then they already know what they look for. But if you go into a shop and you don't know what you're looking for, then it's the presentation. The people you meet who sells the thing, the way they act to make you feel nice, the price, of course. This is more important than what you buy. It's how they treat you. So Aikido will change. The Aikido I practiced back in the 70s, many of the techniques changed, the atmosphere changed much. So for the future, it will continue changing. So I don't know how will Aikido look 5 years from now from Hombodoyo. And Hombodoyo change. And Kobayashi change a little bit sometimes. So I don't think everybody say when they've been doing for a while, they have a dojo, they say, we must change the syllabus, we must change this. But that's for them who it's then you're talking to the ones who are really already believers. But if you want to attract and make people come in and stay, it's not important if you, to be quite honest, it's not important if you show a cucumber or if you show an EQ. as long as you make it in a way that they feel happy. If you make people feel good and happy, they will stay. Some people really get attracted of people who are talking about bubbly bubble upstairs somewhere, and other people who are doing complicated Aikido, and they are technical persons, so they, wow, this is complicated, I like this. But most people, I think, needs to be... Kobayashi say, when we were in Japan before we went back to open our dojo, and one of us already had a dojo, but the other 12, he always said, when you open a dojo, please remember the name of each one coming in. So the second time they come, you say, hello, Sarah, how are you? How was the university test today? He sees me. He knows me. Wow, I am somebody here. That's important, to make them feel they are accepted and remembered. Then they come back, because then they are already part inside. Not like, who are you? You were here last week. I forgot. You come back? They come back? No, probably not. Of course, when you open a dojo, you must first of all see that you can pay the rent and buy the tatami and see that you can pay the fees to the federation, so the insurance working and things like this. But if you find that, my advice is don't run fast. Start, if you can manage on 20 students first year, don't think it will be 40 the year after. Be happy with 25. Because it takes time to make a dojo or a group feel safe working together. And don't be hysterical if somebody leaves. Many, you open your dojo and, you're leaving, why are you leaving me? And you talk with everybody, instead of, bye, good luck with next one coming in. So because you will always have people coming and going. And you must feel safe that what you are doing is on the right track for going further on. Even if this person is not around anymore. So if they're not around, other people coming, if you are working in a safe way. But don't be fast. Don't think, next year I'm going to have to do that. No, it takes its time. I already answered that. Today's competition with other activities is very, very, very hard. And of course, there are some of them who don't attract people because of their personality. Maybe their Aikido is very technical good, but if you don't make people feel that they have a nice relationship with you, not like this kind of relation, but that you as a teacher are a nice person to them and helping for them, they probably leave you, unless they like to be abused or something. Sorry, we have that kind of too, but not so often. So, but that was a joke. But it's not sometimes only a question about, once again, what you deliver. It's how you deliver, in what atmosphere you deliver. But even if you have a good atmosphere, it will take time to grow. You must have patience, long, long patience. He will lead a group, but maybe that group will not be so big. I go back to if you want to expand. Even if you say nothing, and even if you just do technical things, no relationship with your students in any form, you can still have a group. But it will not be how to say, it will not be thousands of people coming there. Some people will be attracted of it. But the more social you are and still keep your professional level of teaching, the more people comes, because then you attract in many ways. It's not, technical is one very important thing. You must be technical attractive, but you must also be social attractive. And if you have, like, you're a little bit older, maybe you're 40 or something, and the students coming in are 17, 18, You must act in a way that makes teenagers or young people feel, hey, he sees me, he can help me, I trust him. And this is difficult. But if you only come and this is me, this is me, this is me. Everybody in this society talk about me, 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 me. Very few people that talk we. No. They can't spell to it. They say me, me. I do, I do, I do. Instead of could we do. Aikido is I, to meet and harmonize. That's my way of thinking. What we do in Sweden maybe don't work in St. Petersburg. For sure doesn't work in UK. If I go to Balkan area, Serbia, Macedonia, don't work. Greece, don't work. Many of the things I teach work, but some things I have to change when I teach. I must learn their culture and try to make my advices go in line with their culture. Once again, we. I try to be good advice, I must try to understand them. Not like, I know, I'm a guru, I know. No. Who are you? You work this. You could maybe change then. That kind. It's like listening. You must listen before you're talking. And I'm bad at that normally, but never mind. Same advice as for advanced. If you don't find it amusing, if you don't find it joyful, do something else. Aikido, like Kobayashi dojo, must be taught in a joyful way. Makes people feel good and happy. If you can't laugh or smile during training, do something else. We don't want robots and machines, we want people.
You recommend?
I don't recommend. I say if you have a work, you have a family, you have studies that put up the limits for you, then that's decide how many camps. And economy, of course. We were beautiful and young and we're living in Sweden where we had very, very, very much money back in the 60s, 70s when I started. And Sweden was very rich. The currency was very strong. So it was no problem to run away for a couple of weeks to do Aikido training. Today's young people, they don't have that money. They can't, if you get to work in a company, they suck the best out of you, they don't even, and they take something more. You can't just run away 2 weeks. And if you just have children and everything, you can't. So it's not a question what I recommend. I say go for training camps when you have the chance and enjoy it. And if you can do that 10 times, it's good. And if you only can do it 1 time, that's also good. Most important is, Michio Sensei was my first, not my first, but my head Aikido teacher in Japan. Very, very nice Aikido teacher. He always said, Budo is 1 part family life, 1 part Budo, 1 part working. And if you're a professional, working and Buddha life can come together. And then, of course, you need to sleep. But if you think that you take one thing away, or you must take in consideration family, working, how much time for Buddha. And if you don't find balance, you will turn unhappy and you're no good Budoka. That's most important, find a balance. Talking about self-defense and Aikido, there's always one part of Aikido who will deal with self-defense. So as I say, Aikido has so many phases. It can be self-defense oriented, it can be spiritual oriented, it can be very just social oriented, it can be very kokyu, ki, whatever. So many ways, different teachers. And I think when you say that in Japan they are not going for self-defense, I would say, nah, I don't know. I say we didn't come in contact with that persons because they went to other teachers, which we don't know anything about, or not so much. I've seen dojos where it's more or less fighting. in Aikido in Japan. And then they are attracted by that. So I think it's the same there as here, but and everywhere. But of course, there will always be people who feel insecure in society. Maybe people who get abused sexually or something, females, or people who get beaten down by punks or coming into a robbery or something and threatened with guns or knives coming in. They get afraid, and that is a trauma for them. So when they come, I always say, please, we can take this down, but it's going to take a little bit longer time. And if you're in a big hurry, maybe do some more jutsu. People who works with this very intensively to make. So I think inside Aikido, you can take care of these people also, as long as you're honest and say, this take a little bit time. Aikido is very, very effective, self-defense. Can be used. It's up to you and your mind. But I don't do it because I'm interested in self-defense. I have to know a little bit about it because I am the level I am. And I don't try to teach it at self-defense, but I also try to show it so people are not naive. If they stand so they can be kicked, I say, please change position. You can do the same spiritual training, but you don't have to be kicked down same time. I try to find these ways where there's no conflict between spiritual way, technical way, self-defense way, or just social way. To find one way that suits everybody. And that's my, how to say, biggest goal. So I can attract as many people as much as possible at the same time by using the same way of teaching. This is difficult. And if you're looking for self-defense, on the way you will find answers, but it's going to take longer time than if you go another place where they really dig into this. On the other hand, I think that Aikido, as the movement it is, the way we move, is more honest. In the long run, we probably deal good with these situations, not because we know how to fight, but because we become sensitive with other people. We feel, problem, I take another way. Other people who just concentrate on the technique forgets the social or the mental play between people. But this is my personal thing. I think some Aikido people and maybe other kind of people get angry with me when I say this. But I think not only Aikido, maybe some also other martial arts, for sure, can make you feel secure without fighting. But if you are insecure, you ask for how to fight. And that's, one thing is the quick answer, you fight like this, but you maybe not feel more secure. The longer answer is, you practice like this, and you start to feel secure. Right or wrong, I don't know. One thing that happens many times is that I have telephone call from, or nowadays most emails, from a parent who say, I have a 7-year-old son, and he needs self-defense. Yeah. And I always ask, who is needing self-defense? Who is afraid? You or the child? Because children normally don't need self-defense because they just play and have a good time and go to school. If they are bullied, okay, they could maybe be like that, but I don't think maybe Aikido is, sometimes Aikido is good for it. But many, many, many times, it's the parents who are afraid and put that into the heart of the kid and say he's afraid, but they themselves are afraid. And that means when you come to situations like that, it becomes very difficult to discuss, and even to advise, because you don't know, do I advise how to take care of the child, or should I advise how to take care of yourself as a person, as an adult? That is. So every time this happens, I always like, who needs this? Okay, if they need it, boom. It's going to take time. If you're in a hurry, please go to a self-defense course. Pay for 20 times, and they teach you some basic. And it works, comme ci, comme ça. But that's more honest. Then I say, yes, stay here half a year, because you will not understand self-defense after half a year of Aikido. Maybe not after even 10 years. But you get more sensitive which means you avoid a lot of problem situations. That's my belief. May I ask you a question? You are talking about maybe to learn something new in your life, like skipper exams or, you know, something like that, or maybe, do you go there because you already know it, or you go there because to learn? It's very easy. Is it important if they know the technique or not? Because if they know the technique, why go there? They go there to learn. This is what you should tell beginners. You don't know what you will find there, but by going there, you learn and you get more experienced. Everything comes together. I already answered this question in one way, but okay, I'll do it again. First of all, we go to a training camp or to a training because we want to learn. This means we don't know the things that are shown. It's by going there and practice we learn. Second thing, to create security in a person so that person feels secure. It's not enough you say there will be friends there. You have to talk, maybe you know, okay, I'm going to Yamada Sensei or anybody coming into St. Petersburg to a camp, and you want some of your students to come with you, and there's a beginner who says, well, I don't know, and you say, we will be there. Then you say, like to Timothy or somebody or yourself, say, please talk to this person and make Timothy or Roman or whoever it is to talk to this beginner and say, I will personally help you. That's how you create security. Not, we are many who can, because then they forgot you. But if they say, I will watch you, I will take care of you, there's a personal guidance, then it's much more secure to go there. So once again, the relationship is more important than the technique or this. If somebody says personally to me, I will be there, I meet you up at the door. Maybe I can meet you on a metro station and take you to the dojo because you don't know the way, I know that way. Things like this make people feel, hey, I'm accepted. I'm very afraid, but I think I will try. If you don't know Thai food, you will not ask, I want to go to Thai food. So somebody will say, hey, let's go to Thai food. And I will introduce you to Thai food, and I will be there with you. So then they say, maybe good idea, I try it.
So
it's not from the beginner itself. You can't ask for a beginner who knows nothing to have a motor that says, I'm going. You as an instructor or a fellow training partner must give security and say, now we start this motor together and move. Hombo sent out a message to the shihans who worked in Europe end of 79. End of 79, they said that now Europe must use Japanese system. And it worked for about 6 months, and then everybody gave up. And if we go back to hakama, there's many ways what a hakama comes from and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going into that. But once upon a time, you were not allowed to practice if you don't have a hakama. And we're talking pre-war things, pre-war, Second War.
In Japan?
Yeah. Then, for educational reasons, you took off hakama for security reasons, and also for the teachers to check your positions, and also to be able to help you so you're standing in the correct way. And from that time, it went to showdown, and Japan still have that, unless you're a female, because then sometimes you get the hakama before that. And that's one of the reasons it's very strange, because if I try that in Sweden, different system for men and female, I'm going to have problem with the government, because in Sweden we say equal. End of discussion. Same for both. I think when you come to Sankyu, we have that system from history. Some countries Nikyu. Germany and Italy, aikikai, shodan, like Japan. The other countries, but normally it's Sankyu or Nikyu they come from. Because that was the way the Japanese teacher who came here back in the 60s implemented Aikido. And so when you come to the third kyu, you normally been practicing 2.5, maybe 3 years. You still have to correct the foot positions after 3 years, then you're a lousy teacher. They should know the positions. So why not have a hakama? The Japanese system. First of all, when you have a hakama, the third kyu in Sweden, okay, I talk Sweden now.
Okay.
Everybody in Sweden knows you have a hakama, okay, I can throw you a koshinagi. So you have to send that signal first when you're shodan, because you can be third kyu and very good uke for koshinagi. But you have no hakama. Oh, I help you, please crawl here. And this person will be offended after 3 years training.
That's
one reason. So I think in Europe, okay, I go Sweden. Everybody knows the system. Everybody knows Sankyu is perfect. And I think it's okay. It really works. So from that point of view, no problem. Also, Japanese people coming in, they say, everybody black belts know they're a third kyu, but everybody knows ukemi. Okay, done, no problem. They take anybody as uke. I was quite surprised when I was first time in Japan in 1880. We were on a big Kobudo demonstration at Budokan. And there was old, really famous karate people and judo people. And they all had hakama. And I never seen karate people have hakama before that. I never seen judo people have hakama. And I asked why. And they said, it's because of this is competition. Because it's dangerous if you have hakama and you get stuck with the legs. So to avoid injuries, they don't use hakama. But the old teachers, they do demonstrations. They had hakama because they knew this is the formal dressing for training.
Judo, of course, because it comes from jujutsu and aikijujutsu. But karate also?
Also karate. Okinawa Goju-ryu people were fantastic. And it's very fascinating when they do uramawashigiri and things, and they have hakama because it looks like, wow, it's beautiful. So I think my advice is, if you are in a country where they say first dan, okay. If you are in a country say thank you, okay. Don't change. Right. Don't put energy to that. Make people more, put your energy to develop people instead. Not if hakama, not hakama. I think wrong energy. You should ask the Japanese. I don't know. But I've been teaching in Japan for more than, since 1991.
Regularly?
Yeah, every time I'm there, I teach.
For special seminars together?
Special seminars, training camps, or also sometimes Kobayashi dojo ask me, please, can you take this class? When we were uchideshis, we already was teaching at that time. Because if you're uchideshi and the teachers can't come, one of the uchideshis take the training. And sometimes one of us had to take it. That was no problem. But this is Kobayashi dojo. Kobayashi and Igarashl dojo, very, very open for Westerners. Maybe other dojos, maybe not that open. But that, you must ask them. But Kobayashi dojo, Igarashl dojo, I never had a problem. And I've always been invited to teach. And also at Meiji Daigaku University, Saitama University, and also Economical University of Tokyo, where I've also been teaching. Together with Kobayashi and Igarashl sensei, or alone. First time I was in Japan, 1980. I already met Igarashl sensei and Kobayashi sensei a couple of years before. But that time he had 9 dojos, and he opened the 10th during the year we were there. And at that time, Hatayama sensei was in Germany 2 years, sent out to Asai sensei. And Shikanai sensei had already left for Brasilia. So the helping instructor was Igarashl sensei. Then they had three very good uchideshis, Toda, Okada, Tada. They were beautiful for us. They helped us, and Toda continued. Tada, Okada disappeared from Aikido after many years, but Toda passed away for a couple of years now. But they were all really good friends and helping us. The people then, like Horigoshi sensei, was training partner with us. Horigoshi sensei, Mazda sensei was at that time 14, 15 years old. Koyanagi not started. Yamawaki sensei not started there. He was in France later and then came to Kobayashi. Who more is it? Mikio Kobayashi, who is one of the instructors of Kobayashi, he was same time we, and he was already fourth dan. Very strong. He lived, his family house was about 200 meters from Kobayashi house. So he was running up there. And then he stopped Aikido for many years, and now he's back teaching. He's a really nice guy. Another guy who is in Kobayashi, Suzuki sensei, who stayed time in Jordania. Now he's in Algeria or, Argentina or Paraguay. I'm not sure which one. And also he was John Dan, fourth dan when I was there. So many of the people now are former Kobayashi dojo students and instructors, now independent in their own dojos, like Igarashl and everybody. We were all together like a family at that time. Then it became so big, so people started to break up. And I'm very happy. I was in Japan nearly 1 year meeting this family, and also had a chance to meet all of these old Usensei students, like Yamaguchi, like old Osho, like Ishihashi, Watanabe, Mazda, Homodoi Mazda, many, Endo, whatever. And we could go there, practice for them, because many of them now passed away. Not so many people know how they were. Everybody talks about them. Very few people know what they really did. So I'm happy. I was lucky. It was a good time to travel there. And I still have these connections. The ones who are still around, when I meet them, it's feels always very good. We have a good time together talking about old memories.
It's not like only about Aikido, but also other kind of communication, like...
Yeah, personal. Many of them lived in my house. Horigoshi stayed 1 week in my home in 1985 or whatever it was. Hatayama been there, whatever. Igarashl, a couple of years in my house. Kobayashi sensei also. So of course we talk about children growing up and school systems or whatever, and old times and things like this. And also some people from like Tamara sensei, same thing with them. Because when you do so much time together, you find other ways. That's okay. Igarashl sensei was already employed by Kobayashi sensei as a teacher. Horigoshi, as I remember it, did some teaching in Motosomi Yoshidoyo. But he was not professional. Igarashl sensei was professional. So most of the time when I met Horigoshi sensei, we were training partners. And that goes also for, as I said, Mazda was just a kid at the time and things like this. So Horigoshi sensei became professional later. So that's what I can say. We were more training friends. And being Uchideshi, we had, at that time we always had breakfast with the family. Kobayashi sensei's wife cooked. So Kobayashi, Igarashl, and we Uchideshis were eating around the same table in the same room. We did clean up the house. We worked in the garden. Many things the Uchideshis don't do anymore. They do other things. And we did a lot of washing and, things like this. And when you work shoulder to shoulder and you clean up a place, of course you get good relations. This relation stays for the rest of the year. Your life. I think he should tell himself, but as far as I heard he had a nickname, the Black Devil. He was very strong, very frightful, together with Chiba Sensei. But I asked him why, because when we met him, he was a kind, nice person, never do any kicks or something like that. And I asked him, why did you change? And he said, why didn't you get any students? We had one guy called, I don't say his name, who came there. And Kobayashi was very, he just opened his door and this guy coming in, he had seen Sensei on the demonstrations. He thought, Aikido is beautiful, I must go there. He told me this when we were in a pub drinking after the training. And he was crying when he told me. So he went there and he came in and please try. And Kobayashi gave him Magiri. And so he, Aikido is much tougher than I thought. So he went out and did karate for 4 or 5 years. Became instructor on the Yokota base, the American Air Forces bases in Tokyo at that time. And karate instructors for them. And then he felt, now, second down or something, and I'm instructing karate. Let's go back to this hard man and see if we can do Aikido. And that's why he started to cry. And I came in, and instead of this frightful person, stands a man with a big smile and say, nice to see you again, please come. And just was friendly. And he said, I threw away 3 or 4 years of my life on karate because I misunderstood the whole shit. I think it's a beautiful story. Yes. For me, and that goes wherever I go, wherever I am, for me, if Aikido only was technical solutions, I would have left it 40 years ago. But for me, it's a relationship. And relationships is not fixed. It's something you always must work with, and you always must put energy into to make it survive. So Aikido is not where you sit and somebody else teach you, do this. You must self-look for it. And then the communication comes to the teachers. Sorry, but... So I think, to make it interesting, you must, in the beginning, of course, left foot forward, right foot forward, raise this hand. Very important to understand. So you feel technical, safe, what you should do. But next thing is, put the heart into it. And to put heart into something that makes you vulnerable, you're easy to get sad if you do. It's like when you're in love, you're very open and somebody hurts you and you really feel sad. So look, when the technique is there, start to put the heart in and see what kind of relationships you can build up. And I talk a relationship like just human being communication. I don't talk about sex or something like that. And I think it's very important for the leaders to create, just like Kobayashi say, he's a social genius. Tamura Sensei was that too. They really created atmosphere that you felt you were welcome. They always, Kobayashi say, always you feel he has his eye on you. You can feel it's easy to deal with him. Don't make, of course he's a sensei, top sensei, shihan, but he also very familiar with you. This balance is very difficult. Not so many leaders can be that. They may be more strict or maybe too soft, heartful. The balance between strict and heartful is very difficult. But if you find that balance, the dojo will prosper. I think. My advice is, of course, teach technical, but don't forget the relationships. If you don't have fun, don't go there. That goes for everything. If it's not joyful, why go there? Why punish yourself by going to a place where you just think, blah? And if the leaders can't make you smile, don't go there. If you don't feel that they like you and take care of you, don't go there. And especially of all, don't listen to too much to people, to me. Find your own way. Because what I am is I. And that person is another person. Don't listen to gurus. Take in, but make yourself your own decisions. You're adults in the long run. I'm very lucky to be coming here for 8 years, working with Netsui dojo. I don't know so much of material you put on the internet, on YouTube channels and things like this. Some of it I've seen, some not. But I trust the management of the Netsui dojo to be very professional, very nice. And please, look into it, try to enjoy it, and please, go to the training.